It had been exactly 1 minute since Chloe and I broke up, and she was already on Instagram, making her new relationship with the scholarship kid official. She claimed Caleb Thorne had depression, and that as soon as she helped him become a happy-go-lucky person like me, she'd get back together with me. Caleb used her phone to send me a message, marking his territory. "Thanks for taking care of my girlfriend all this time. From now on, please keep your distance." I had to laugh. It was ridiculous. It only took 30 seconds for me to have my dad pull his funding. After my dad informed the school he was terminating Caleb's scholarship, he immediately called Chloe's father. The marriage agreement between our two families was off. At the same time, one of Caleb's buddies sent me a video of Chloe and Caleb all over each other. In the clip, Chloe was wrapped in Caleb's arms, kissing him. Someone in the background, clearly loving the drama, piped up, "Chloe, aren't you worried this will crush Ethan?" Chloe, her face pressed against Caleb's chest while her fingers traced circles on his shirt, didn't miss a beat. "Nah, he's easy. A total pushover. We grew up together. You think I don't know him?" she continued. "He's so clueless. Always getting straight A's, which means Caleb can't get the top academic awards. This is just a little lesson for him." A cold laugh escaped me. So that's what she'd always thought of me. "Besides," Chloe went on, "I'm bored. He's so uptight. He barely even touches me. It's pathetic. The thought of being engaged to him after graduation, being tied down forever, it makes my skin crawl." She shivered dramatically, and Caleb pulled her in tighter. "I promise I'll keep you satisfied, babe. Only you." Chloe smiled, a sly, cat-like expression, and planted a kiss on his cheek. "That's why I like you. As for Ethan," she declared, "whoever wants him can have him. Because I'm done." I could barely suppress the nausea rising in my throat. Suddenly, a new, clear voice cut through the noise in the video. "In that case, I guess he's fair game." It was Sophia Wallace, the class president, who was always neck and neck with me for the top spot. Chloe's expression soured instantly. Caleb tightened his grip on her waist. With a strange, forced laugh, Chloe said, "Go for it. But he's been obsessed with me for over a decade. He'd do anything for me. It's exhausting. The guy's a total prude, probably saving himself for me." Sophia let out a soft, unreadable laugh. She picked up her designer handbag, the logo a quiet statement of its cost. "I'm heading out." Her eyes flickered with disdain toward where Chloe and Caleb were clinging to each other. "Chloe, remember what you just said. Don't come crying when you regret it." "I don't share." Chloe's face was a mess of emotions, the rosy flush of passion completely gone. "I told you, Ethan would die for me. All I have to do is crook my finger, and he'll come running back." Caleb frowned, and Chloe quickly added, "But hey, I'm happy to let you play with him for a while. He's just a simp. I've got plenty of those." Her friends roared with laughter. Chloe's not wrong. Ethan totally is a simp. Remember all those games where he'd show up with a cooler full of water for everyone? And how he always insisted on paying for everything when we went out. It's always guys like that. So damn cheap. The video ended there, with just a fleeting glimpse of Sophia turning to leave. As I stared at the screen, my phone buzzed again. It was another message from Caleb's friend. "You must be pissed. Take my advice and give up on Chloe. A woman will only ever see a simp like you as cheap. Sophia Wallace seems into you, though. You're both nerds. Kind of perfect for each other." I suspected this was actually Caleb using his friend's phone. He did stuff like this all the time. He used to take Chloe's phone and send me ambiguous texts to start fights between us. Then he'd fake being sick, so she would go take care of him. But none of that mattered anymore. I'm a guy who takes good advice. A woman who's been dirted is best thrown away. And I agreed. Sophia and I were a perfect match, in brains and in family background. "Why aren't you responding, Ethan? Cat got your tongue? LOL. Yeah, I was fine. I've been angry. Furious, even. Because my family is rich. Like, seriously rich. I don't have the freedom to just date whoever I want. My future wife has to come from a family on the same level as ours. The problem is, I'm not exactly movie star handsome, especially compared to the other sons of families with similar status. The competition is brutal. Of all the girls I could choose from, Chloe was definitely one of the best looking. But, compared to Sophia Wallace, it wasn't even a contest. Sophia was taller, prettier, and smarter than her. The total package. With a better option on the table, what was there to be upset about? The only time you're ever truly sad is when you haven't eaten a good meal. I showed the video to my dad. He was so mad he was ready to storm over to the Prestons' house, but I stopped him. I pointed to Sophia in the video. "I like her," I said. My dad was quiet for a moment, studying my unremarkable features behind my black-framed glasses. "She's stunning, Ethan. Her family is a good match, but you..." I held up my hands in surrender, declaring righteously, "A toad that doesn't dream of eating swan meat is not a good toad." Then again, he mused, she's still young, hasn't seen much of the world. This is your chance. He clapped me on the shoulder. For the sake of improving the next generation's genes, you have to give it your all. The only thing I can do is improve our financial situation. An image of my mother's less than stellar features flashed through my mind. Silence. I spent that night memorizing every piece of information I had paid a fortune to dig up on Sophia Wallace. For a top student like me, reading it twice was enough to recite it backward and forward. The next morning, for the first time ever, I didn't wait for Chloe to walk to school with her. On the security camera, I saw her standing outside my gate, frowning. She spoke impatiently into the Ring doorbell. Ethan, you have 3 minutes. If you're not out here, don't bother coming out at all. Unbelievable. I ignored her. Now that the marriage agreement was off, my family's butler and staff had no reason to be polite to her. Mr. Hayes has already left, our butler informed her. Chloe's face went dark. The breakfast she was holding, meant for Caleb, was thrown to the ground. A glass juice bottle shattered with a pop, spilling its contents all over the pristine driveway. Why did I know it wasn't for me? Because she had never once brought me breakfast. I was always the one who brought it for her. Our groundskeeper was furious. I just swept this area. What the hell is wrong with you? How dare you talk to me like that? Do you want me to have Ethan fire you? The groundskeeper rolled his eyes. Your engagement is off. The business partnership between the Hayes and Preston families has been terminated. You should probably leave. This is just Ethan throwing a little tantrum. I'll humor him and he'll get over it. The engagement will never be off. With that, Chloe stormed away, her face a mask of grim determination. Chloe and I were desk partners. When I got to school, Caleb was sitting in my seat. My books had been dumped on the teacher's desk. He smiled at me. Ethan, Chloe and I want to sit together. We're in our honeymoon phase, you know, he said condescendingly. Didn't Mr. Hayes, my sponsor, tell you to be more accommodating to me? Come on, little brother. Just let us have our space. You wouldn't want people calling you the third wheel, would you? Apparently, he didn't know yet that my dad had cut him off. My first instinct was to tear into him. But then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw Sophia. The seat next to her had been empty for years. My inner drama nerd took over. It was showtime. I stood there, feigning shock and confusion. Sophia walked in, picked up my books from the teacher's desk, and said, Ethan, come on. I followed her, my heart pounding as she placed my books on the desk next to hers. It felt like a scene straight out of a manga. This was awesome. I really needed to watch less anime. It was starting to mess with my head. I forced myself to look shy and sad, my voice cracking as I said, Thanks, class president. I didn't eat. If you really want to thank me, you can grab me some breakfast when you go out. She yawned. I was up all night studying. I'm exhausted, gonna try to catch a nap. Huh. So she wasn't the quiet, reserved type. She was the jealous type. She must have seen me bringing Chloe breakfast every single day and wanted the same treatment. I nodded eagerly. Of course, of course. I would treat them both equally. No. Considering Sophia was a million times better than Chloe, I would show her even more favor. It wasn't until I got to the coffee shop that I realized I hadn't asked Sophia what she wanted. I found her in a class group chat and sent a friend request. The note read, Hey, class president, what do you want for breakfast? Then I sat down to eat a bagel while I waited. I was a genius. A perfect, non-awkward excuse to get her contact info. Sophia accepted my request almost immediately and sent her order. I looked at it, confused. It was a list of everything Chloe hated. Every single item was something Chloe had explicitly forbidden me from buying for her, or even eating myself. Not that I ever listened. I always ate whatever I wanted. On my way back with Sophia's breakfast, I ran into one of Chloe's friends, the same guy from the video who had called me a simp. He was incredibly friendly, greeting me with a huge grin. Hey, Ethan, getting that for Chloe. He whipped out his phone, snapped a picture, and sent it to their group chat. I knew exactly how they would mock me, but I didn't stop him. Right now, I needed catalysts like these idiots to ignite Sophia's feelings and make her take the initiative with me. I just smiled back at the guy and walked away. When I got to the classroom, Chloe was already there, laughing and talking with Kayla from her seat. She looked like she was in a great mood, a completely different person from the one I'd seen on my security camera that morning. She saw me and held out her hand expectantly. You're back. Perfect, I'm starving. Sophia, who had been napping with her head on her desk, sat up. Her seat was diagonally behind Chloe's. I deliberately avoided Chloe's gaze, keeping my head down as I walked past her. Just as she reached out to take the breakfast from my hands, I sped up, almost jogging the last few feet to Sophia's desk and sat down. I placed the breakfast bag on her desk and pulled a warm bottle of milk from my pocket. Eat up while it's hot. I actually like this stuff too. Looks like we have the same taste, class president. Sophia smiled. Chloe was frozen, the smile on her own face stuck in place. The mocking smirks on her friends' faces also vanished. "Ethan, wasn't that for Chloe?" one of them asked. I spoke softly, but firmly enough for everyone to hear. "She has a boyfriend now. Why would I get her breakfast? Besides, our families called off the engagement. We're done." Our school was a private academy for the elite. Aside from the kids who were sent to study abroad, most of the heirs and heiresses in our circle went here. Some kept a low profile, others didn't. But everyone knew about the impending union between the Hayes and Preston families. As my words hung in the air, I saw Sophia's lips curve into a pleased smile. Chloe's face, however, was terrifyingly dark. She glared at me. "Ethan, you're going to regret this. I don't want a disloyal dog. Even if you come back begging, we are finished." I shot back. "You're the dog. The one in heat, apparently." I was usually so reserved that my reputation for being boring and straight-laced was deeply ingrained. This was the first time anyone had heard me curse. The truth was, when I played games online, my mic was on fire with trash talk. I had a filthy mouth. All eyes were on me, and my face started to burn. This was, after all, a public place. I buried my head in my arms on the desk, and I heard Sophia's soft laughter beside me. "Look at you, Ethan. Finally learned to bite back." She was close, and the scent of summer gardenias drifted over. My ears tingled, and my heart fluttered. I had to fight the urge to just pull her into my arms. Restraint. I needed restraint. Chloe had called me uptight, said I was too scared to even hold her hand. But maybe, just maybe, it was because I didn't like her hands. They were always sweaty. I might be a pervert, but I was a germophobic one. Sophia's hands were a different story. After our evening study hall ended, I was packing my books and looked over at Sophia, hesitating. She capped her pen, her slender, pale fingers tipped with a faint pink. My mind started to wander. This girl was a total siren. "Is there something I can help you with, Ethan?" Her voice was so clear and elegant. I used to have to pay for voice actors on apps to hear something that nice. Now I was getting it for free. Why was my mind going to these places? I forced myself back to reality. My driver. He has something to do tonight, so he can't pick me up. It was such a lame excuse. What wealthy family only has one driver? Her eyes held a knowing smile, but she didn't call me out. She just fell in a step beside me. "All right, let's go. It's on my way." It wasn't on her way at all. We both knew it, but I didn't say anything. The ride was quiet. Both of us focused on our review packets. Time flew by. The SATs were tomorrow. When we pulled up to my house, I was about to get out when Sophia put down her papers and took off her silver-framed glasses. "Ethan, where are you thinking of going for college?" "Probably the one right here in town," I said. There was only one. Sophia smiled. "Me too. Good luck tomorrow. I hope all this recent drama doesn't affect your performance." I couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. "Of course not. I'm always number one." "I know," she said, her own confident smile matching mine. "Because I am too." She was so beautiful. I was humming as I walked toward my house, only to be startled by Chloe waiting at my gate. She looked awful. "The driver wasn't coming, and you didn't think to call me? I called you, and you didn't answer. Why are you bothering outsiders?" She spat the word outsiders with venom. At first, because it was convenient, I used to ride home in Chloe's family car. Then Caleb showed up, and suddenly there was a third person in the car. I have a bad temper and a petty streak. I've always hated being a third wheel. Chloe needed to be adored, and Caleb was an expert at fawning over her. Slowly, my voice disappeared from their car rides, replaced by their laughter and chatter. After a while, I just started having my own driver take me. Chloe called me petty and said I was trying to make Caleb look bad. I had asked her once, "Can't you see that I'm uncomfortable? I don't like this." She had laughed in a way that made me sick. "Are you jealous? Ethan, you're a young master. Why are you always competing with Caleb? He has nothing. You've had everything since the day you were born. What's the big deal about letting him have a little something? Even your dad says you're not generous enough. You need to learn to share." "Share? My father, my fiancé. Were these things that could be shared?" "I'm sorry, but I couldn't be that magnanimous. I wasn't responsible for Caleb's situation, and everything I had wasn't gained by hurting or bullying him. I had no obligation to share with him." That argument had ended badly. Chloe didn't speak to me for months. This time, she couldn't even last a day. People are truly messed up, especially people like her. "As far as I'm concerned, you're the outsider now," I told her. "Chloe, do you just love having your cake and eating it too? When you were with me, you were messing around with Caleb. Now that you're with Caleb, you're haunting my doorstep? What are you, an octopus? You have that many arms to keep everyone in your grasp. Oh, and by the way, the reason my phone didn't ring is because I blocked you. Get it?" I didn't understand. After everything I just said, how could you be looking happier? "Ethan, I knew it. You're just jealous." Unblock me right now. I'll pick you up tomorrow morning for the exam, and I won't bring Caleb, okay? Her voice was so gentle it made my skin crawl. Are you for real? Are you an idiot? Can't you understand plain English? I'm allergic to stupid, lady. No wonder you're always at the bottom of the class. I can see you not getting math problems, but you can't even understand what people are saying? You're a lost cause. You should have your dad send you abroad. If it weren't for your family's money, you wouldn't find a single college in this country that would take you. She wasn't even angry. She just kept smiling to herself. Go on, yell at me. They say you only hurt the ones you love. I know you're just blowing off steam. Didn't we agree? Once Caleb's depression is better, we'll get back together. I couldn't take it anymore. I spit right in her face. Her eyes widened in shock. I turned and ran back into my house. I had nightmares all night. Chloe was just too disgusting. The next morning, I woke up half an hour early just to avoid her. I seriously suspected she was a secret agent sent by Caleb to mess with my head before the exam. When Chloe finally arrived at the classroom, I was busy discussing problem-solving strategies with Sophia. She shot me a look, her eyes burning with fury. I didn't even glance her way. Before we left for the exam, our homeroom teacher came in. After going over the rules, he turned to Caleb. You need to go to the office and pay the fees for your last few exam packets. Caleb froze, stunned. He glanced at me, then asked the teacher in a low voice. I thought I didn't have to pay those fees. The teacher adjusted his glasses. Your sponsor called the school. He has terminated your scholarship. From now on, you'll be responsible for your own college expenses. The monthly stipend will also stop. The color drained from Caleb's face. As other students started to look at him, his face turned bright red. The teacher asked bluntly, I'm curious myself. What did you do? That man funds the scholarships for every underprivileged student in this school, from high school all the way through graduate school. As long as you're studying, he covers it. Caleb, if because of you he decides to pull funding for the entire school. The teacher's face was cold as ice. I don't want to see that happen. You'd better watch yourself. Clearly, the teacher knew what was going on. That's why he said it in front of everyone, offering him no dignity. My dad's scholarships came with strings attached, with contracts signed. Caleb had violated the terms, and now things were getting ugly. Caleb turned on me, his voice seething. This was your plan, wasn't it, Ethan? To mess with my head right before the SATs. Well, I won't give you the satisfaction. I'm going to ace this test. Oh, good luck. He choked on his anger. I ignored the drama and focused on my exam. After the morning session, I went to the restroom to splash some water on my face. When I came out, Chloe was standing there, her eyes filled with disappointment. Ethan, I am so disappointed in you. Who asked you to have expectations? I tried to walk past her, but she grabbed my arm. She pulled me into an empty classroom and demanded, Why did you tell your dad about us? Now he's cut off Caleb's funding. It's not about the money. Do you have any idea how humiliating this is for him? How could you be so vicious? If money is a small thing, why don't you have the Prestons fund him? Or are you scared to ask your dad? A knock came at the door. Sophia pushed it open and said to me, Ethan, the teacher is looking for you. I stomped on Chloe's foot. She yelped in pain. I bolted out of the room and walked away with Sophia. What does the teacher want? I asked. I was lying. I stopped for a second, then couldn't help but smile as I leaned closer to her. Even good students lie, huh? MHM. She was clearly unhappy about something. I assumed she hadn't done well on the essay portion of the exam. We walked in silence. Just before we reached the exam hall, she spoke again. Ethan, she said suddenly, she's not good for you. Can you please stop liking her? My whole body jolted. A strange, tingling sensation spread through my palm, and my throat went dry. Okay, I heard myself say, my voice trembling slightly. Her mood instantly brightened. The afternoon the exams ended, Caleb told me to wait for him. Since he and Chloe got together, he'd been staying at her apartment near the school most of the time. The excuse he gave my dad was that living on campus was better for studying. Today, for some reason, he wanted to ride in my car and come back to my house. Of course, I refused. I waited until he was jogging up to the car door before I told my driver to pull away. He stomped his foot in frustration, his eyes red with resentment. Chloe arrived soon after, comforting him. I saw her mouth a curse word before she started making a call. Probably to me, but it wouldn't go through. She got so angry, she threw her phone on the ground. Of course it wouldn't go through. I had blocked both their numbers and all their social media accounts. Chloe, furious, brought Caleb to my house. My father had them stopped at the gate. Dad called Mr. Preston and told him to get his daughter under control. Let's be generous and call Caleb my godson, my dad said into the phone. In reality, he's just a student I sponsor. Our families were in the middle of arranging a marriage, and your daughter ditches my son for him. Mr. Preston, do I have no dignity? Does the Hayes family have no dignity? Now your daughter is causing a scene at my gate with that boy. Does she want the entire city to come watch this circus? Chloe's father apologized profusely. It was, after all, his daughter who was in the wrong. When Mr. Preston arrived, he looked like he was about to kill her. He glared at the cowering Caleb and roared, "You shameless piece of trash. If you hadn't seduced my daughter, would any of this have happened? If you want to stay alive in this city, you'll stay the hell away from her." Caleb was trembling with fear. Chloe stepped in front of him. "Dad, I'm the one who broke up with Ethan. Don't blame Caleb. Ethan's just being petty, blowing things way out of proportion. He's always done whatever I say. I'll talk to him, he'll get over it. You don't need to get involved." Her dad, enraged, slapped her across the face. "Are you still dreaming? His father already called me to dissolve the marriage agreement. That video Ethan sent went viral. Do you know how much money I had to spend to get it scrubbed from the internet? A fortune. Now all our relatives know. You've completely humiliated me. Now get in the car." Chloe's face was pale. "What video?" she asked, bewildered. Her dad pulled out his phone and showed her. It was the video Caleb's friend had sent me. Chloe was livid. Who the hell recorded that? And how did Ethan get it? The party that day had been at her family's villa, with only her closest friends present. There was no way I should have known about it. Caleb started to panic. This was spiraling far beyond his control. He cautiously reached for her sleeve, but missed her. Preston kicked him so hard he fell to the ground. Chloe tried to help him up. "Do you want me to cut you off completely and throw you out on the street?" her father bellowed. "Because I will." Chloe knew he meant it. Besides her father had an illegitimate daughter, and that daughter was a much better student than she was. Chloe had no choice but to follow her father, her face a mask of bitterness. Before she left, she yelled up at my window, "Ethan, don't be mad anymore. I'm not mad at you about the video. Just take good care of Caleb, and we'll call it even." Forget me, even my dad had to laugh at the absurdity. The girl was completely insane. "I never realized she was this much of a psycho," my dad muttered. "She's just a good actress," I commented dryly. "This is probably the real her." Seeing no one was going to help him, Caleb picked himself up off the ground. He tried to enter our house, but the butler blocked him. My dad spoke through the intercom and let him in. The moment Caleb was inside, he ran to my father, his voice thick with tears. "Mr. Hayes, it's not what you think." My dad sneered. "It's not." He played the video, pointing to the screen where Caleb was holding Chloe on his lap, kissing her. "Is this video fake?" All the blood drained from Caleb's face. With the video right there, he had no defense. My dad tossed his phone aside. "Go upstairs, pack your things, and get out," he said coldly. "We're done." Now Caleb was truly panicking. My dad had built his empire from nothing. He never had the money to get a proper education when he was young, which is why now that he was successful, he had a soft spot for smart, underprivileged students. He sponsored all of them at my school. One of his main conditions was that the students were forbidden from dating while in high school. Of all the students, Caleb's family was the poorest. He had sought us out himself. His grades weren't good enough to get into our school otherwise. His cousin, a better student, was already in my dad's scholarship program. Caleb heard about it and begged his cousin to bring him to us. He knelt and pleaded with my dad, showing him the bruises from his father's beatings. He had the perfect sob story: a gambling, abusive father, a sick mother, and delinquent twin brothers. In my dad's words, it was a disaster of a start in life. He was so pitiful. My dad felt he had to save him. So against my wishes, my dad brought him to live in our home. He was a sweet talker, much better with words than I was, and he always knew how to make my dad happy. But I was miserable, and my dad would just tell me to be more generous. This made me resentful, and my dad, in turn, grew disappointed with me. He thought I was ungrateful. I was born into wealth and privilege. Why couldn't I tolerate one poor boy like Caleb? He had nothing. He was so pitiful. Sensing my dad's favoritism, Caleb pushed his luck. He was one person in front of me, and another in front of my father. He could humble himself, play the part. I couldn't. It wasn't that I didn't want to, I just didn't know how. I would be dying of frustration inside, but the moment I opened my mouth, only stubborn, defiant words would come out. It was like I'd rather die than say something soft. I could be nice to anyone else, but if someone I cared about hurt me, my mouth would turn into a weapon. When my dad was angry, he would say I was annoying, nothing like Caleb. That only made my temper worse. I began to hate myself. The mere mention of Caleb's name would set me off. I became hypersensitive and started to despise the situation at home so much that I almost moved into the school dorms. And it was at that exact moment that Caleb set his sights on my fiancée, Chloe. Did he love her? I doubt it. He just loved taking things from me. He reveled in the moments when my dad would side with him and scold me. He savored the victory of Chloe choosing him over me. In those moments, he became the center of the universe for the two most important people in my life. So what if I was born rich? So what if I was a top student? I was still his loser. He looked down on me with such arrogance. But that arrogance finally led to his downfall. And as sad as I was about the whole situation, I was also dying of laughter. It was tragic and hilarious at the same time. My rival had dug his own grave. I couldn't help it. My dad had a soft spot for poor, smart kids. But the one thing he absolutely despised was seeing them get into relationships when they should be studying. He was extreme about it. He believed poor kids didn't have the luxury of dating. In his philosophy, high school was the one and only chance for a poor kid to change their destiny. How could they possibly waste it on romance? It was the only condition of his sponsorship. Caleb thought my dad's constant nagging about his grades and his love life meant that he cared more about him than me. He was wrong. As I got older, I realized my dad just thought Caleb had no other path in life except studying. But I was different. I was his son. Even when we fought, I was his only son. He had my entire life planned out before I was even born. So even if I didn't do well in school, it didn't matter. But for Caleb, it was everything. Mr. Hayes, please listen to me. I know what I did was wrong. Caleb sobbed, kneeling and begging. Please give me one more chance. I love Chloe, and she loves me. She said she'll get engaged to me next month. I'm your son too, and Chloe will still be your daughter-in-law. My dad, shaking with fury, was past reasoning. He yelled for the butler to pack Caleb's things. He pointed a trembling finger at Caleb's face. You're insane. Do you have any idea who the Prestons are? Do you know how much that family is worth? Let me tell you something, Caleb. You've finished your exams. You're going to college. Your grades are good enough to get into a very decent university. If you get your degree and graduate, you can have a life you never dreamed of. You can truly change your own destiny. Chloe is just a girl. She has no power in that family. You think you can marry a rich girl and leap into the upper class? You're dreaming. Relying on anyone is not as good as relying on yourself. Even if Ethan and Chloe's engagement is off, her future husband will be the son of some other tycoon. It will never be the son of a gambling addict. The Prestons can't afford that kind of embarrassment. If you don't want to wake up dead one day, I suggest you break things off with Chloe immediately. When you become so successful that the Prestons can overlook your family background, then you can come back and say what you just said. Caleb lowered his head, biting his lip. Then he let out a sudden, mocking laugh and stood up. In the end, you still favor your own son, he sneered. All that talk about wanting what's best for me, it was all a lie. The moment you saw Chloe choose me over your precious son, you panicked. You want to kick me out of the city so your son can get back together with her, right? Dream on. Chloe would never fall for a pampered little prince like him. She told me she only loves me. Mr. Hayes, if you don't want to sponsor me anymore, fine. I'll be the Prestons' son-in-law soon enough. The money you gave me isn't even worth as much as a single pair of shoes Chloe bought for me. I don't need your charity. And I'm not leaving this city. I'm applying to the university right here. I didn't see Chloe again until after the SAT scores were released. I heard her family had her on lockdown. Chloe had found out who sent the video, but Caleb's friend, terrified, claimed Caleb had forced him to do it. Just more dogs biting each other. Caleb made a big show of being suicidal, but this time, Chloe didn't soften. Her mother came and took back the apartment near the school, and Caleb was kicked out. After the scores came out, it was time to plan for graduation parties. Sophia and I were separated by only 2 points. I was higher. Her mother came to visit our house. Perhaps we could host the graduation and thank you dinner for the teachers together, she suggested tactfully. My parents exchanged a look and smiled. That's a wonderful idea. We were thinking the same thing. The two of them have been tied for first place in every exam for years. It must be fate. Sophia's mother nodded with a smile. Yes, it is. They've grown up so fast. From that day on, our two families became much closer. Caleb, to his credit, did very well on his exams. He got into the same university as me. I was a little annoyed at the thought of having to see him in college, but Sophia reassured me. The campus is huge and will be in different majors. The chances of running into him are tiny. I felt a little better. She was right. Chloe didn't get into any decent local universities. Her only option was to go abroad. The day she was leaving, she came to find me. She looked worn out. By then, everyone who needed to know about my family and the Wallaces knew what was happening. Her voice was tinged with resentment. You couldn't even wait a second, could you? Or were you with her all along? But Chloe, why should I have waited for you? Our families are equals. I never needed anything from you. You just never understood what respect means. She looked hurt. You never used to be like this, Ethan. You used to adore me. You do anything I said. No matter what I did, you were always on my side. What did you change? She was right. The way I treated her wasn't because I was so madly in love. It was because I desperately wanted her to treat me the same way. I believe that to receive, you must first give. So I gave and gave, waiting for her to reciprocate. But she taught me a valuable lesson. It was a one-way street. She was a bad person. She just took and took, feeling entitled to it, without ever giving anything back. I'm not an idiot. Of course I was going to cut my losses and run. I have no comment on people who believe in selfless devotion, but that's not me. I want what's mine. It's over, Chloe. Sophia and I are official. She asked me out yesterday. And you said yes? Of course I said yes. Why wouldn't I? Should I ignore a 5-star meal to keep digging through a bowl of spoiled leftovers? I'm not a fool, Chloe. Her eyes welled up with tears. I can change. From now on, you'll see a different me. Ethan, I was a jerk before. Caleb tricked me. He was always playing the victim to manipulate me. I wasn't like this before he came along, you know that. There you go again, blaming someone else. It's never your fault, is it? It's always someone else. Wake up, Chloe. The world doesn't revolve around you. After I got together with Sophia, I was well and truly happy. So happy, in fact, that I gained weight, my face rounding out. Sophia was right. The university was huge, and I almost never saw Caleb unless he actively sought me out. Today was my dad's birthday. Sophia and I were heading home together. As we were leaving campus, we ran into Caleb. He held out a gift box. I earned this from my part-time job. I can't get into your neighborhood. Could you give this to Mr. Hayes for me? Ethan, I know I was wrong. I just want to focus on my studies now. I didn't take it. You just want my dad to start funding you again. Don't even think about it. I will never give you a chance to get near my father again. His face went pale, and he glared at me with pure hatred. If you hadn't posted that video online, my reputation wouldn't be ruined. I got into a top university. Plenty of sponsors would have been willing to fund me. It's because of you that I'm in this situation. You and your father owe me. Sophia let out a cold laugh. Weren't you the one who sent that video to Ethan using someone else's account? You reap what you sow. Who else is there to blame? After that, Caleb never appeared in front of me again. I knew Sophia had done something, but I was happy to pretend I didn't know. College flew by. After graduation, our families picked a date, and we began preparing for the wedding. On the day of the ceremony, I got a call from an unknown number. Sophia hit decline. Honey, she said, there's so many scam calls these days. We have to go greet the guests soon. I'll hold your phone for you. Okay, I said. I found out later it was Chloe. When she heard I was marrying Sophia, she had rushed back from abroad, only to be intercepted at the airport by people Sophia had sent. Desperate, she borrowed someone's phone and frantically called and texted me. Sophia rejected every call and deleted every message. Chloe sent a long, rambling text message, apologizing and begging for me back. Impersonating me, Sophia replied with a single sentence. You need to stop texting, my wife will get angry. Okay, I have to go console my wife now. Yeah, she could be a drama queen, too.